Hello and welcome. I'm Bezwada and this is #Childhood Matters. In the last episode, we discussed Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and the plight of children. We also talked about the government's reception or non-reception of independent surveys and independent researches and reportage. But can we talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan sanitation without addressing the issue of caste, without addressing the plight of children living in the shadows of discrimination? That's what we are going to take on today. Who do we have? We have an icon of our times, an icon for our times. Bezwada Wilson, Magazine winner, a man who's dedicated his life to eradicating manual scavenging. Welcome, Bezwada.
Thank you.
We have Beena Pallical from National Campaign for Dalit Human Rights, an extremely articulate and angry and feisty voice against Dalit discrimination and all forms of discrimination globally. Welcome, Beena. Wilson, in the last episode, we had a really deep dive into the latest survey numbers, the water aid report, the caravan cover story, and the concerns around Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. But much before any of this came, I remember you, even in 2014, when the program was launched, have been very concerned about the symbolism, the icon, and the strategy the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has adopted. Can you tell our viewers what are your leading concerns about the program?
No, what I felt is when the Prime Minister announced on the October 2nd, 2014, the location which he selected is a Balmiki Basti. That I felt is not a good sign, because you are talking about the clean, so you have to say that where the clean is not there. But you have chosen the place where actually the people who has dedicated their life for the centuries to clean this country. You have not recognized that. And you said that for the clean, and I am going to the Balmiki Basti.
So it's reinforcing as if they are unclean people.
Yes.
Okay.
And you have, if you could have said that, I have chosen this because they have cleaned all of us.
Intergenerationally.
That was something
years.
different.
Yeah.
But he has chosen that, and he went and he started cleaning there.
With a broom.
Broom. And people who never use the broom, just coming for the TV show and doing that in front of us and my community, that is really a kind of a devastator. That is not ideologically also for them to launch any scheme. They have to work out, homework they have to do. I felt that they did the homework, but they have a mindset very clear that the clean means that is the people who are cleaning only. The clean is the responsibility of the untouchables.
Not the people in Raisina Hill or the Lodi Road who you say only generate waste but never manage waste or never clean. They only generate waste. So you would have much rather this program started in Raisina Hill.
There itself I understood that the Swachh Bharat is not going to success because that the idea of the launching itself, they have went on the wrong track.
Beena, you have anything to add? Do you also have concerns?
Yeah, I think
over and above what Wilson
surely.
said?
In addition to what Wilson ji has said, that I think it's very important to understand that any policy in this country cannot be implemented without actually keeping caste as a central focus of the policy. That I think we all agree. But then these symbolisms actually is such a total washout while introducing new policies. But I also have a very interesting thought that a lot of times as Indians, our house is only where the four walls end. And we are keep our houses clean, but the moment we step out of our houses, we don't think it's part of where we live. And we know that somebody is going to come and clean our shit. And I think we need to learn to clean our own shit, because because we know that there are the certain people from my community who is going to clean the shit. We're okay to go around and dirty the place. But I think this is a mindset problem that we have to. And from the government to all the, different strata of society, still think the same way.
Yeah, okay. According to the 2011 census, 180,000 households were employed in cleaning dry latrines. You have dedicated your life to eradicating manual scavenging, the scourge of manual scavenging from our country forever. The Swachh Bharat Abhiyan does not mention manual scavenging, either Swachh Bharat Urban or Swachh Bharat Gramin. We had Hartosh Bal in the previous episode. They had done a cover story on Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and they specifically point out how Swachh Bharat does not address manual scavenging or does not mention Dalits or sanitation. And World Bank has also red flagged that Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is not doing enough for inclusion. What is the latest, according to you, in terms of number of families employed in cleaning dry latrines and in manual scavenging? And do you think Swachh Bharat is remiss in not addressing, taking the bull by the horns, addressing the caste and discrimination in its program, talking about sanitation without addressing caste, like Beena said?
See, discrimination has become like a lifestyle of India. So we don't feel that we discriminate or anything. We feel that I have a right.
नहीं, caste नहीं है. आप urban India में पूछिए, posh area में नहीं है caste.
Definitely they will say that no, there is nothing like. But who cleans where? Everybody again, the Dalits only, untouchables. So how it happened? It has happened just like an accident. This is a kind of a denial mode for everything, and you don't accept. So I think that for as an Indians, we must have a courage to actually accept some facts, truth. And always we say that Satyameva Jayate, Satyameva. But we never even had just a kind of honesty to say that this is there. And we want to have another so many years like. There we completely miss the track. And much important here is that when a Swachh Bharat also, they don't talk about the people who are cleaning. The women who are cleaning the human excreta in this country, as on today, there are the 1.6 lakhs still cleaning.
1.6
lakhs.
So from 2011 census of 1.8 lakhs, now it's 1.6.
No,
20,000
no,
family
the problem
have been
here is
rehabilitated.
the census never enrolled or taken an enumeration of the people who are cleaning. They always take the how many toilets are there. So the Swachh Bharat is a movement of the toilet. It is not a kind of a liberation and rehabilitation of the scavengers at all. So it is two different streams actually. We should not mix the Swachh Bharat and liberation of the scavenger. That they give a kind of a picture that broom and all these things. But Swachh Bharat, it is the only toilet. There is a broom, all these things, scavengers, Dalit, liberation, dignity of women. This is all just a kind of a eyewash. Actually, there is a construction of the toilets and corporatizing the toilets, and there is no toilet which any person can use in this country after some time. And we have a kind of a culture that everything like a community like, we use everything like. So now you can't use anything. They made everything that even if you want to use the toilet in the cities where they are constructing, there you have to pay the 2 rupees to 5 rupees. Where the poor use the toilet, where you have to pay 2 or 5 rupees, where the rich are using like a India Habitat Center, India International Center,
that is
or
free.
the
That
Prime
is
Minister. Yeah, there nobody pay the money. So rich no need to pay, whereas you collect. So you make a revenue out of the people, they just relieve the poor. So this is a completely as an against the poor. No? Poor means there is a no right to live like. So all our policies.
So all these public toilets, portable toilets are payable and they're charging, whereas posh areas with very limited access like India Habitat Center, India International Center have all access toilets and completely unchargeable. And you think there's a fundamental injustice in this model. What do you think of the National Safai Karamchari Development and Finance Corporation? It came along with the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Has it been able to give any kind of disbursement for manual scavengers who've shown a lot of courage and want to leave the profession? Basically, what is your take? Since all of us are paying 0.5% cess, Swachh Bharat cess, how is our money being spent in rehabilitating people you want to free?
See, the problem here is the NSKFDC, National Safai Karmacharis Finance and Development Corporation, constituted exclusively to focus on the liberation and rehabilitation of the scavengers, nothing else. But whereas what we are doing as on today, we are taking their money also to the Swachh Bharat. Actually, what we pay for the cess for the Swachh Bharat is not the NSKFDC money at all. That is for the SC development from the Ministry of Social Justice. Whatever is coming, out of that they are giving for the construction for the everybody. This is exclusive money for the liberation of the scavengers. That they are completely stopped. Now they are going to the construction, number one.
So you are saying the scheduled caste special plan component is being diverted to NSKFTC, and NSKFTC, which was supposed to top up the money, is actually being diverted to Swachh Bharat toilet construction.
Of the toilets. And they have a scheme called, they are saying that if the scavengers, if they want to do any rehabilitation as sanitation related activity, they want to give the 15 lakhs or something as a loan. If it is other than the scavenging, they give only 5 lakhs.
Oh, so
which
you have
means
to do scavenging
they have
related.
Very clear practice of untouchability. The scavengers must continue after their liberation also. Sanitation related occupation even in the rehabilitation package.
Oh my God.
So that the NSKFDC must understand. I raised many times. But still they feel that that is a...
So how is it rehabilitation? If I am getting 15 lakh to continue to be part of a scavenging ecosystem, how am I being rehabilitated if I am a
That is not... See, scavenging to coming non-scavenging, they say very clearly, non-scavenging dignified occupations. So the scavengers, the community, once they are coming out of that, we have to provide or we have to facilitate them to adopt or take any kind of a non-scavenging occupations with the dignity. But this is completely against the central idea of that. So it is not just one example, everywhere. They are purposely. The problem here is that the idea and the understanding about the caste, understanding about the cleanliness is completely in India is under caste based.
Beena, that's a perfect segue to come to you. Your group has been, the Dalit Human Rights Campaign, has been tracking budget, the Scheduled Caste Special Plan and the Tribal Sub-Plan for a really long time. And this is the year that budget was tabled a month earlier. This is also the year that SCSP and the TSP dilution happened. We have tackled the challenges to this in a previous episode of Childhood Matter series, but as somebody who's also dedicated to tackling, how has this dilution of Scheduled Caste sub-plan and Tribal sub-plan, how has it changed how you will be tracking entitlement and allocations to Dalits and Adivasis after the new budget was placed?
I think that initially when the Scheduled Caste sub-plan and Tribal sub-plan were in place in 74-79, they were very late in 2010, the Jadhav guidelines came very clearly saying what are these plans for. So specifically for 3 areas, Basti development, so development of the hamlet, a family-oriented scheme and an individual scheme, specifically only for the development of the Dalits or Adivasis. What has happened in this year is that plan and non-plan budgets have been merged. After the merger, there is no new formula that has come. It has to be proportionate to the population. So that itself is one policy that is almost diluted. So it's become more from a rights-based to a welfare approach, where there is right now we can't track because we don't know what is the formula that they're using to actually allocate these resources for the SCP-TSP. But I just have the figures here for the Swachh Bharat mission. 20,000 almost crores is a total budget, out of which about 900 crores from the scheduled caste component goes for the Swachh Bharat and about 1,394 from the tribal sub-plan. So where is this money going? We are not seeing any great change since 2014. This is this last year's budget that I'm quoting. So it's very important to see that they have allocated resources, but actually those resources are not going down to the ground where it needs to actually be utilized.
And this was meant for the hamlets and habitations of Dalits and Adivasis?
Yes, these are the 3 main areas of development. So it could be either individual schemes, or it could be family, or it could be hamlet.
So for our viewers, this is important because in the previous episode we talked about the entire outlay being 2,32,000 crores, out of which almost 10% is earmarked for Dalits and Adivasis, which is disproportionately low also, considering the size of the population is about 17 plus 8, 25.
And,
Yeah,
it's
25% of the population is getting almost 10% of the Swachh Bharat allocation. And out of that, you were saying you can't see the fungibility, can't track the money where the money has been spent either. Okay. Your colleague has written a piece in Wire yesterday about Dhamma has written a piece that there has been 51 deaths in the past 91 days of sewerage workers, and we are all complicit, and these are political murders. Are those the updated numbers, and why do you think we are all complicit, and why are these political murders?
See, in 2013 we have announced in the Jantar Mantar very clearly that stating that India must have a clear understanding about how we are managing our sewage and how we are going to manage our septic tanks. So you are constructing almost like another 21 crores of the toilets by 2019, and you don't have any mechanism how you are going to clean the septic tanks. So toilets you construct the flush out and there is no sewage system. So how? That they are not given any answer. And moreover, already existing our system, sewage or septic tank system, which is taking the lives of the Dalits every day here or there.
Right.
So after 2014, the Supreme Court, the judgment which we were there almost like 12 years in the Supreme Court, we got the judgment. There they said that the compensation of the 10 lakhs for each death they have to give. So the state and central government, they started telling that the contractor will pay that money, why should we pay like? Then we started going and counting the deaths. It was a really surprise for all of us. And it is a 1,570 such deaths happened that has not come into the either NCRB records or any police records, nowhere. And people we are killing. It is not just dying. Dying is something different. We know that the septic tanks will kill the people. We know that the sewage system will kill the people because there is no any other mechanized way of the cleaning. And you deliberately you
continue to send them
inside and take that out. And there is the methane. And how to deal with the methane, we have not dealt anything. And by knowing without finding any political solution to that. So we say that it is a political murders. You have not taken any decision. You have a capacity. You have the, you know that how to go to the Mars mission and all those things you have. And you have the Sriharikota rocket launch pad, everything.
And we also sent what, 114
satellites with the one rocket. And we have no capacity to actually clean 5 feet deep the sewer line. And this they are saying that we have no. That how can we see? You must say very clearly where the Dalits, Adivasis, minorities, women are mostly engaged. There the technology will not come because we are a very patriarchal, we are very casteist mindset people. Then the people, others can understand that to come out. Instead of that, we don't have this. India is a big country. We have more population.
So you think the day a Brahmin or a IAS officer's son or daughter is made to enter a sewer line, we will immediately get a technology to clean them?
I think that. But I don't even like even some other human being enter.
Nobody
that is a principle.
Yes, yes.
Because we can't allow any human being to enter and die like that. And we know that the people are going to die. And we have still even now.
So when you say we are all complicit, you mean we are not outraging enough about it? We are not calling out this hypocrisy?
No, actually we have an emotion. Indians are basically emotional people. But our emotional, all our patriotism, it will come very selective way. It won't come when the people are dying. Nobody came. So far no city, no citizen came out. I cannot live in my city if there is no proper drainage system and I do pay the tax. No, we come out for the something else. Our patriotism also very manufacturing patriot.
In fact, today when we were trying to connect with you and for some time we were not incommunicado, Shubham and I genuinely thought that there might have been another sewerage line killing and you might have gone to facilitate the official paperwork to take it to litigation. So we genuinely thought that might have been the case for which. And I think it's shameful and angering in equal measures that the last time when we spoke, we got a lot of YouTube comments on News Laundry that you taught them to see the fundamental injustice even in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. But the fact that you and your work are still relevant shows that 70 years of independence has not made us democratic as a nation also, which is why you and your work is still relevant. And many of them wished you Godspeed also. Beena, I know you've been tracking the discrimination in various outcomes, development outcomes also. The National Family Health Survey 3, that is 2004-5 data, when you decompose it, 8% of Dalit children are more malnourished than the general caste population. So the malnutrition amongst the general caste is 38, those days it was 43%, amongst the Dalit it was about 51% plus. And then the Supreme Court gave an order as part of the right to food litigation that Anganwadi Dalit children face massive challenges of access, especially in rural setting, where the media scrutiny and the public scrutiny is not there. Hence, Anganwadi centers have to be located in Dalit hamlets on priority. But Indian Institute of Dalit Studies did a study in 2005 under the leadership of Dr. Sukhdev Thorat, and they said that Supreme Court order was being violated hook, line and sinker. Why do you think Dalit children are more malnourished than the general caste population, and what is the latest in preferential location of Anganwadi centers amongst Dalit hamlets? What is the update?
Malnutrition is directly related to diarrhea. I think one of the main causes of malnutrition is because the children continuously face diarrhea.
Yeah.
And diarrhea is related to water and sanitation.
Absolutely.
So in a huge way in 2015, India signed the Sustainable Development Goals, which
and
are
all of us were there.
all
in
of
New
us,
York.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think it was Goal 6 that says water and sanitation. So I think if you unpack that a little bit more, we know that we are not providing safe spaces for children, and specifically children from Dalit and Adivasi and the vulnerable communities, because their location is a problem where they are based. They're poorer, they don't have access to services, they don't have access to water and sanitation. So because of diarrhea becoming the number one problem, lot of children then are malnourished. So that is one argument. My second point is that untouchability is something that we think that we have eliminated it because in the Constitution it speaks that we are against untouchability. But that is very much prevalent in schools. Children, even though have access to primary education, we are tracking a lot of cases which we recently presented to the Special Rapporteur on Water and Sanitation who was here, where so many cases where children are denied access to clean water even in schools. For example, there's one recent study that we found that the children from the Dalit community, when they want to drink water from the pot that is kept for all the children, they're not allowed. So the children from the other dominant caste have to come and give them water. And we actually have a photograph of them giving water, throwing water like this, and they have to take with their hand or with their glass separately. They cannot go and take by themselves. Like this, several stories we've been documenting on how children's access to clean water is such a huge problem, and also access to sanitation. Because of course sanitation is not limited just to building toilets, but we also have to have clean environments. So I think these are some of the reasons that if you look at the human development indicators, the Dalit and Adivasi children have the lowest in terms of any of these indicators. And malnutrition, they have much higher figures as compared to the national average. And the stunted growth national average is about 38.9. and underweight is about 29.4, whereas the SC children, it's as high as 42.9. 36.4 for stunted growth and about 32.7 for underweight. So you can see that there's such a huge difference between the national, and this is because of the discrimination and not having the access to these services.
Wilson, when you made your first appearance in you broke into national media as part of Amir Khan's Satyamev Jayate, there was long narratives you gave about how Dalit children are made to clean school toilets, and that's also one of the reasons why Dalit children drop out, because they cannot take this reinforced discrimination in school spaces and in their social spaces also. To both of you, do you think that practice still continues of Dalit children still being made to clean school toilets, community toilets?
It is almost like in many places our children come and they give the same complaint to the parents.
Now also?
Now also it is. Because we think that when the toilet comes automatically, so sweeping comes in anywhere in the schools or anywhere, they will select the girls. When it comes to the toilet, they select the Dalits. It is their understanding. We have not grown under our understanding, our maturity is up to the same place, and it has not moved. And in the name of, in many places, everybody must clean. All must clean, like, you know. So they say that all, but in the all exactly they were selecting only the Dalits. And when it comes to also, I always say that it is, if you want to teach the children also to clean, that you cannot teach again back to the Dalits to clean how? We have cleaned this country 4,000 years. The people who were never cleaned, for those children, you have to make an understand about the cleaning. Like example for me, my mother has given only one teaching. That is the important is, you should not clean. Because of my mother, she is to clean. And she also said, you should not touch the human excreta. These are the two things. So in the name of everybody, if somebody asks me in the school, you clean. So immediately it comes to my mother words to me. So when you think any kind of this kind of a common thing, you have to see India is not a society where everybody is equal. When it is an unequal society, you have to come with a very clear progressive actions.
And we believe that in Paulo Freire and Nelson Mandela's theory that treating inequals as equal is fundamental injustice. For our viewers, I think this is not required to be said, but I'll still say it. Wilson Bezwada's parents were and his brother were manual scavengers in Kolar goldfields, and he was also registered in the employment exchange for same sweeping and cleaning job, and he tore up the employment exchange paper and decided to take on the system that reinforces this over and over again. What are the other forms of discrimination Dalit children face?
So I think that in Japan, they have a model where all the children in the school are supposed to clean. So all the children, irrespective of where you come
it's like
from.
rotation.
Yeah, they have like,
Aaj meri bari hai,
that
kal
model,
aapki bari,
that model probably works because they're all taught to clean their own stuff. You cannot leave.
It's also a very equal country.
Exactly.
It's in fact one of the highest in the equality index.
But I remember speaking to some children once when I had attended some program very close to Delhi, and I said it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, aren't you children supposed to be in school? So they told me a very interesting fact. They said, if we go to, today is the first day of the school. The first day of the school, when they go back to school, they are all asked to clean the school. Both toilets in the entire school, because these children they know these are the Dalit children. So they avoid going to the first day of the school so that they don't have to clean the schools. It's ridiculous. I mean, what are we teaching these kids? And obviously, by the time even before they come to 10th, they will drop out, because if this is the education that we're giving. And to be really honest, we absolutely do not have the political will. We still want people to be there and clean our streets. We have been doing this for, like Wilson ji said, for 4,000 years. Let them do for another 4,000 years. I think this is the mentality that we are sitting with. Otherwise, I don't think this is a problem that we can eliminate it in our lifetime. If we are not able to rehabilitate if we are not able to totally eliminate manual scavenging and rehabilitate them, then what is the point of having such policies?
Yes. people consider it as censorship. That because, like you said, the stunting prevalence and the malnutrition prevalence, underweight prevalence amongst Dalit children is more. If you want to sell a picture of development and sabka saath sabka vikas, then it gives a body blow to that kind of narrative, which is why those data sets are not being released. Increasingly now in the health surveys also, disaggregated immunization, disaggregated access to health services by caste identity is not being tracked anymore. As people in the forefront of the battle for justice and equality, what do you think of this official practices of not releasing the disaggregated data of the socioeconomic caste census, not tracking immunization access, health services access for Dalit and other marginalized identities?
See, there are the many undemocratic practices they are bringing continuously past many years. They started that. And they are also in India, there is another trend. We cannot question anything. So when you started questioning, they will say that you are questioning like our nation like. We are not questioning.
Anti-national.
We are anti-national. But actually that kind of a fear they created, and everything what they do is only is a nationalism. And what everybody ask is an anti-national. This kind of a division actually is an undemocratic soch hai. So that actually we have to break that, and we have to tell. Particularly I want to talk this particular incident with even with the Prime Minister directly. And when we are talking about this untouchability, and you give so sabka vikas, all those things. But you have to understand what we are talking. Let us come to the dialogue, what the problem we are facing. You can't declare that we don't have the problem. I must talk about my problem. You have to be open to understand that nowhere, that somebody has to lead in this country, number one. Number two, when it comes to the talk about the untouchability. So always we have a habit that the untouchables will talk about the why we should talk about the untouchability?
It's a social
untouchability. Yeah. No, you practice untouchability. So you have to talk about that. And it is your disease, and you are giving a medicine to me. And you are thinking that you can cure that. So as long as you don't take the medicine, the untouchability you cannot cure.
So can I ask a simplistic question? Ever since you won the Magsaysay Award, do you think every time you have come on national media, have you made us conscious of our privilege, and have you forced us or shamed us to question our privilege more, or do you not see any trend of the privileged questioning their own privileges?
Nice subject.
नहीं समझे. Keep this, don't edit it out. People जो already privileged हैं, Brahmins हैं, rich हैं, Raisina Hill में हैं, वो सब हैं. जब आपको अवार्ड मिल गया मैगसेसे से और आपको काफ़ी नेशनल मीडिया ने आपको कवर किया, आपने बार बार यही पूछा कि अनटचेबल हम हैं, स्वीपिंग हम कर रहे हैं, दैट इज़ योर प्रॉब्लम. सो मेडिसिन हमें मत दो, तुम्हारा प्रॉब्लम तुम जो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो वो देखो. मतलब जो प्रिविलेज्ड हैं, जिन्होंने कभी झाड़ू नहीं पकड़ा है, पीपल हु आर प्रिविलेज्ड, हु हैव नॉट बीन ट्रैप्ड इन दिस प्रोफेशन, आपका इतने बार नेशनल मीडिया में आने के बाद डू यू थिंक आपके आस पड़ोस में, when you meet the policy makers, when you meet the powerful people, do you think there is some amount of consciousness कि वो कितने privileged हैं, कितने lucky हैं, and are they humble towards you कि वो क्यों lucky हैं, and why people who are trapped in that profession are not trapped because of their any of their wrongdoing, but because of the lucky people practicing something as reprehensible?
No, I hope that there is definitely the changes will come. I am not thinking that nothing will happen. But the only problem is the people, individuals, somebody, the progressive, they come and they say that, yes, this is true, and there will be appreciation. Sir. But to transform the whole society, there should be the political will, and there must be then a government must come with the policy, and there must come with then a clear-cut understanding about this. No discussion on the parliament about anything with respect to the Dalits. And only when you talk about the Dalits, the majority 99% they think that reservations. Other than reservations, as if that there is no other problem.
It's all reduced to reservations.
So you make whole problems of the Dalits only to the reservations, and as if that in the country nobody has never enjoyed like reservations. And you brand like. So this kind of a wrong notions must be dealt very clearly at the parliament level. And all the parliamentarians, they must understand that what is exactly the problem of the people of the country. I'm not talking about it is a Dalit problem. So as a Dalit, I feel uncomfort in this country as a largest democracy in the world. Then the whole country must understand there is a problem within the democracy. What we are raising question is not Dalit questions.
It is
a democratic question.
It's not intrinsic to Dalit identity
yes,
only.
It's a democratic question.
Yes.
So the country must understand that these are the very important questions which we never taken into the consideration. They must take that. This is the right time. You talk about this openly. So let us come, and our youngsters must understand what is this untouchability. You can't say that if somebody is coming and saying that I am fearing, I am afraid. You can't say that there is nothing to fear. You must understand that is my fear. So what circumstances I am saying that let you first understand and be open to understand my problem. You declare that there is nothing like that. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. You have no right to say that. When I have a problem, I must have enough space to express my feelings. So you are not even giving that. And you say that everything is resolved, there is nothing like, everything is good in India.
All is well.
All is well, and there is nothing. And you also say that we are creating now, in the history, this is the first of its kind in the history. As if that India doesn't have any history at all till to date. So these kind of notions we have to stop.
So the poet Nirav Patel, for our viewers, it seems our Prime Minister wrote a book called Karma Yoga, which was withdrawn later, and there are passages in it which is inspired by Gandhiji, who has also been criticized for his campaign, where he says that how Valmiki's cleaning and cleaning intergenerationally is a spiritual attainment for them. So poet Nirav Patel has questioned that interpretation, saying, why doesn't our Prime Minister think if Valmiki's attain that spiritual enlightenment, others should also too, and that cleaning, the spiritual enlightenment through cleaning should not be reserved for Valmikis, but everybody else, from Brahmins to Patels to everybody should get it. Let's go back to this sect, the censorship around sect data and the doing away with caste-based, identity-based disaggregation. What do you think are the dangers of that?
I think one is data is very powerful today. If they have the data that proves that all that we are saying, I think they're first of all scared. And I agree with Wilsonji that it's very undemocratic way of actually doing this and not, not declaring this data in the public. One of the things I'd like to respond also by saying that by accepting that there is an issue of caste, you're also questioning your own privilege and where you're coming from. And I think that is where the fear lies, that if they are going to say that there is this problem of caste, how do they unpack their own privileges is something that I think a lot of them fear. Third, there is no political will clearly. But I also like to bring in another angle of the fact that a lot of violence and atrocities on Dalits happen, specifically on Dalit women happen because they, many of the rapes, gang rapes on women, attacks on women have happened when they have gone for nature's call or open defecation. That's because they have no protection mechanisms. We have following up a lot of cases where the girls are raped only because they're going out of, to answer nature's call. So what is the security and protection that we're giving to young girls from the community? I think that is also a very important angle that we need to look at, that violence also is intrinsically linked with this whole campaign on water and sanitation.
Last time when we met, we have to wrap this up. Last time when we met, Rohit Vemula and Una was in news right after your award. Now when we are meeting, Rohit Vemula, Una, Chandrasekhar Azad, NSA against many members of Bhim army is in news. Last time when we met, Sairath was a hit. So going forward, what will be your final words to our viewers, both of you?
See, the problem is this Chandrasekhar there, nobody is talking about that. And there is no reason for that. And in the country, the people who come and they say that you just cut the head, I will give the 10 crores. You will never file the case. That shows actually that the whole fall of the Indian, our polity and our system of the law. And we always think that the actual law must rule the country. But here, individuals come and they can make any kind of a statement. You never punish. When there is a Dalit, when they assert, and they come and that for their own assertion and the self-respect, there must be some procession, there are something. But you put them into the jail for the ever like, and you file all the whatever sections you can. And this shows actually the Indian government.
But he got a bail from the Allahabad High Court. The National Security Act was imposed by the UP government after he got the bail.
No, whatever government, whether the central government or state government, the person who is there in the jail for how does it matters? You have to be there. So you make all whatever the state power only to suppress the Dalits and their rights and the assertion. Whereas that the people who are coming like a terrorist like, and you declare that I want to cut the head, including the cinema, whatever, Padmavati, but you can't even, nobody in the country is asking, you file case against this person under this law. No, the law never works for the dominant. Law works only for this. Punishments. So this kind of a dichotomy, if you don't take out, so we can't save the democracy in the country. It is a larger question.
So a Teflon-coated democracy is in danger as long as this hypocrisy is not called out. For children, for Dalit children, any messages of hope since you work with a lot of Dalit children?
I think that there is a huge wave of assertion that is happening. And I think somewhere the country is afraid of the power within the Dalits and Adivasis. And I think these young leaders that you see, Chandrasekhar, Jignesh Mevani, Rohit Vemula, sad with what happened to Rohit Vemula. But there are other Rohit Vemulas that we don't know about and we haven't spoken about. I think these are clear examples of how when young Dalits arise and assert themselves, there's a backlash violence. Like for Chandrasekhar, they're so afraid of him that they've actually literally shut him down. I think that is a very powerful message that we want to give out, that probably it's time that we will not continue to tolerate another few centuries of violence and another few centuries of caste-based discrimination. I think it's time that we need to say stop it. Even if we are called anti-nationals, we have to continue this fight. And we hope that we all collectively take this call to end discrimination based on caste so that we can give not only Dalit and Adivasi children, but other children a better future.
So more power to both of you. It's been an absolute honor to speak to both of you. And for our viewers, as long as we're talking about childhood matters and child development, we cannot but talk about the discrimination that some children and their families are cursed into the scourge of discrimination that Dalit, Adivasi, marginalized identity groups children are suffering. And we can't address childhood matters till we also take these issues up front. This was our 6th offering of hashtag Childhood Matters. We'll publish the video on Newslaundry's site and on the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. A big thank you to our panelists who are also our personal heroes, the heroes of our time. Godspeed. We hope your relevance and your work comes to an end soon and you can actually achieve your goals sooner than later. And it's all our agenda, not just your agenda. Big shout out to Shubham Mishra, our producer, Anil, sound recordist, Raman Kirpal, our managing editor for his guidance and inputs. And again, our colleague at the desk, Vikram Kilpadi, for tolerating this volume and this interview and the recording while working really hard. Big shout out to the International Center for Journalists, Washington, D.C. for my fellowship for the dedicated series. Please support independent media. Please support Newslaundry so that you can decide what really matters and why childhood matters. This is Bezwada signing off.